So I also want to hear a little bit about your upcoming record, and I'm not sure when it might be released. I know you said the music business has changed, and
Yes,
I think
yes.
records are still important. So glad
Yeah.
you're doing that.
Well, my last record, it's been a few years since my last record, which was called The Deep End. And one of the things that happens, in the ensuing time, I put out a concert DVD, which is called Live Hive, based on, of course, the Beehive,
Yeah.
hairdo.
Yeah.
And so this one is called The Grown Up Thing. And it's a little bit more bittersweet, I think, as you would think many soul songs are, you know. Since then, I've spent a lot of time in Muscle Shoals, and I'm not saying that they're soul songs, they're really not, but that really has, sort of rubbed off on me. And so which I realized after I started writing. And so that's been interesting. It opened up, as a songwriter, it opened up, I think, some channels in my mind, and made the songwriting process a little more interesting. So the Grown Up Thing, and there will be some interesting on the Deep End. I had the late Levon Helm. I had Ian Hunter, and Dion. Dion does a duet with me on the Deep End, and and Marshall Crenshaw. So I'll have some really interesting. I don't want to spill the beans, but I'll have some interesting guests on this one too.
That's incredible. And when could we expect that?
Well, we'll be recording in the fall, so sometime next year it'll be out.
Yeah, great. Can I also ask your process? I mean, that's a really, obviously, incredibly creative process, writing songs. What's your process with that?
My process is slow. I'm not a real fast writer, but when it comes, they tend to get finished pretty fast. Once I turn a corner with a song, I'm very interested in my lyrics as a vocalist, how they scan. So I will spend a lot of time sometimes on just a turn of phrase, how many syllables are in the line, how am I going to sing them and fit them in, how do they trip off the tongue, as they say. And then, that gets wedded to the music. It's always, I've made many jokes on stage now about writing titles on napkins. And it seems like for this particular record, I wrote a bunch of really interesting titles on napkins. One of them was, "You Took a Razor to My Tender Little Heart." Oh. And that has turned out to be maybe the most popular song we're doing from the new record. So Alabama and Lonesome is another one. And all I had was the title, so then you have to fill it in. Then what's the story behind the title? Yeah.
Do you start with the story and the lyrics, Christine, or do you start with a melody or something that's in your head, or is it different each time?
I never just start with a melody. Sometimes it's a snippet of lyrics and a melody. And then other times it's more the lyrics, and then I figure out what I'm going to do with it, later. But pretty much there's always some idea of the groove and the kind of a song it's going to be. So it's not just lyrics written in a book as like poetry, but I do keep a lyric book, and I think everybody really should, of snippets that come to your mind, because you never know.
That's right.
That could really be something that is useful and is the capping off line that you needed for that song.